Okay, everyone, we're going to get started and welcome to FEVO Form. This is the Premium Sales Strategy Edition. So want to give a huge shout out to all of our current partners that are able to join us today, but also welcome any of our attendees that will be learning about FEVO for the first time. So looking forward to this conversation and definitely our panelists to give some exciting and definitely useful topics as we look at premium sales strategy today. As we get started, really wanted to do an overarching view of the FEVO mission as a whole. Our mission here at FEVO is really finding new ways to bring people together around the things that we all love. As you can imagine, especially right now coming through the pandemic, I think all of us are ready to go back out and enjoy events as well as sports with our family and friends. So excited to actually walk through this with you. And definitely we are truly a social commerce tool that's meant to bring that group together for you. It's really simple in how we work as a whole. So I want each of you to really think about the last time you attended a live event or even a concert itself. Our real ability is for you to be able to come in, purchase your tickets, but you're going to be a part of a group and also purchase those tickets on your own. You know, we've experienced a time of isolation during the pandemic. I'm sure for most of you on the call, it's been awesome to watch some NBA playoffs going on, but wish I was there in person. So our really key here in what FEVO does is has the ability to share and truly create memories with the people you've missed the most during this time. So during our purchase flow at the very end, you're actually going to receive a link that gives you access to sharing this with other members a part of your group, and also take advantage of some rewards that some of our partners tend to offer fans during the checkout process. And lastly, let the fun begin, right? So being able to actually experience this game together, and most importantly, cheer on those fans or see those artists that you haven't been able to see most recently. Moving into the next slide to give you an overarching overview, our true goal here at FEVO is we are a self-service platform and tool. It's an all-in-one tool that's meant to be able to truly manage your inventory, give you access to customize what your offer looks like to your fans and consumers. And most importantly, our FEVO team is here to support you in some of those strategies, share best practices, but most importantly, allow you to really maximize your revenue and have a good return on investment. Today, specifically, we're really going to drill into premium sales strategy. Some key findings that we wanted to share with you as we move into really the next slides is also highlighting some of our amazing partners. A little bit of a humble brag, but this is something that truly is a mark to the partnerships that we value most. Some of you joining in today might be a part or represent one of the brands listed here, but at FEVO, we truly value the partnerships with over 600 logos, whether that's teams or live events organizations here. As we look at this past year specifically in COVID, I would say this is where a lot of the opportunity has really grown and begun. For some of you, I think we all wish there was a roadmap to understanding how to best handle the pandemic and maximize revenue. But this definitely provided a huge opportunity for some of our partners. As you can see in these headlines, I think this situation really allowed us to look at experiences differently and potentially really innovate and move to more of a digital era. So I don't know if any of you guys are Dua Lipa fans on the call, but there are times where whether you joined a virtual meeting for the first time, you attended a virtual cooking class as well, or I'm sure all of us increased our FaceTime during the pandemic with family and friends. We have seen a number of organizations and teams really look to utilize online. So it's amazing to see the fact that Dua Lipa actually had over 5 million guests attend a virtual concert via live stream. With that being said, the way that we're able to innovate in instances like that is truly touch and have fans anywhere around the world be a part of that experience. I think the opportunity we're most excited about, and for some of you, those increases with capacity have come sooner rather than later, is really what is this environment going to look like as we reopen and as capacity for fans starts to increase and truly come back to what we hope is the new norm. As capacities increase, we've truly seen a spike in interest from a digital aspect, but also how we're truly marketing and selling our luxury pieces. I know for some of you, at least for me specifically, when I have my grandma who's ordering groceries online and going through that digital checkout process, it's truly kind of allowed us to, from a sports angle, move things digitally when that concept, there was a little fear around it, right? Like, how are our fans going to take that on? I'm sure some of you have even read articles about really the spike and opportunities ahead with luxury brands moving online. And that's some of the topics that we're going to hit on today with our panelists, is how they're truly approaching premium and luxury to move it online. Biggest thing, and as you read these last two headlines, as you can imagine, people are ready to spend. They're ready to get back out there. So why not with your brand or your team specifically? One specific company I want to hit on is Carvana, right? They've truly been innovative and pushed car buying online. When an SUV as expensive as $50,000, $60,000 is being purchased online in a simple checkout process, there's no reason that suites and other expensive premium areas cannot be digitized and put online as well. So before we really jump into introducing some of our other panelists, for those of you I haven't had a chance to meet, my name is Cara Leis. I am our Senior Vice President of Partner Success here at FEVO. A little bit of my background: I joined FEVO at the start of October. My background has come from the team side, specifically in the NBA. I originally started out with the Bobcats and Hornets in a group sales capacity, and then had the opportunity to transition out to the Phoenix Suns, where I was a senior AE on group sales, and then moved over to leadership in an inside sales role, and then lastly, a director of group sales and inside sales. My real goal here at FEVO is working with some of our partners, along with the other partner success team members, to really push strategy, share best practices, and most of all, collaborate with our partners on how to generate more revenue as we move forward. As we begin the intro into our panelists, very excited for you guys to hear from a very diverse group from all different leagues that we support and work with. Rose, I'm going to let you start it from here and give a brief introduction.
Sure, thanks, Cara, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Rose Barre. I'm the Executive Director of Sales, Service, and Business Strategy. Similar to Cara, which I didn't realize, I started at the New York Islanders in group sales and ended up heading up the team there before I came over to the Yankees in 2010, just after we opened a new building. Worked closely with Dan Rosenthal, who is also on this call, to build the first ever sales team at the Yankees. So welcome, thanks for joining, and looking forward to the conversation. I should have said I oversee all sales, service, and business strategy here, all ticket sales.
Thanks, Rose. Dan, I'll let you take it next.
Thanks for having me. And yes, I did have the pleasure of working with Rose and many of the folks at FEVO back before FEVO existed. So it's a pleasure to be here and see what FEVO's built for all of us. I work for Elevate Sports Ventures, leading our USTA relationship, primarily around the US Open, one of the marquee events in the United States and across the world, overseeing all of our premium hospitality sales, strategy, marketing, and event operations. Previously to working with Elevate, I've worked for On Location, Madison Square Garden, the New York Yankees, and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Thanks so much, Dan.
Dan, I'll go next. Nick Wierciak, Vice President of Ticketing, Suite Sales, Ticketing Premium Suite Sales for the St. Louis Blues, Enterprise Center, and Stiefel Theater. Always had a fantastic partnership with FEVO for many years on the group sales platform, and obviously dived on why we're in this discussion today in the premium world as well. Little background on me, started my career a long time ago, many moons ago in inside sales, worked my way up through different opportunities within the organization, and most recently was promoted to Vice President of Ticketing, and transforming from the premium front prior to the year we won the Stanley Cup. So excited to be on the panel, and looking forward to hearing all the exciting opportunities.
Appreciate it, Nick. Taylor, I'll let you take us home.
I'll close it out. I am Taylor Fisher. I'm the Director of Sales with the Nashville Sounds. We're the AAA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers. I oversee our ticket sales team, so all of our ticket plans, group, and hospitality options. I've been in baseball since 2013 and been with the Sounds for almost 5 years now.
Thanks, Taylor, so much. All right, so we're going to jump into more of the roundtable discussion. I do have some questions, but also before we jump in, you guys will see the chat is active. Would strongly recommend any of the attendees feel free to drop any questions in. If we have additional time at the end, I'll be sure to plug those in as well. But as we get started, and this is actually a question for all the panelists, you know, there's been a lot of data that's come out around convenience, purchasing online, e-commerce. I have some great data points actually. As we look at post-COVID, 78% of consumers say they value convenience more than they do before the pandemic started. And with that being said, about 45% of buyers are more inspired to purchase based on convenience than price. So this leads to my first question for each of you. With the decision, you know, to move and utilize FEVO for your premium inventories, but also moving it online, would you guys mind walking through what was the decision-making process on your part, but then some of those internal conversations that you guys had that led to utilizing FEVO and moving that premium inventory online?
Yeah, I can start. I mean, I think for us at the USTA, we have a very small sales team, and we have a lot of product to move every year. And so I think the first thing was, how do we leverage our e-commerce channel in a more meaningful way? And then as we looked at the potential opportunities, FEVO merchandises inventory in a really unique way, not only with the pictures and the other details you're able to share, but it obviously is a convenient way to purchase. And so it was a pretty easy decision for us. Ultimately for us, we have, again, with our small sales team, we need to broaden our approach, and FEVO is a fantastic way for us to do that.
And I would piggyback off of what Dan said. For us, I think leading up to this point, the question was whether premium inventory or someone spending the amount of money they would spend on a suite was something someone was really worth, thought it was worth to go online and purchase, or if they would want to talk to someone. So I think that was a main deterrent from us doing it previously. And as we led into phase after phase throughout COVID and had a lot of inventory to sell, the question became, what harm is it to try? And it was something that Josh Rose on your team had brought up to us probably a couple of years ago, just on premium inventory in general, and it pulled the trigger just given the volume of inventory that we were looking at. So
yeah, for us in Nashville, it was kind of a couple of things. The conversation started when we were expected to have a socially distanced ballpark for 2021. So selling premium online is new for us this year. We were supposed to have pods of 2, 4, and 6 throughout the seating bowl, and then our suites previously had a minimum of 12 seats when purchasing. We ended up lowering that minimum to 8 coming into 2021, so that if a family of 8 wanted to sit together, that was the best option for them. So we lowered the minimum to 8, but we raised the ticket price a few dollars to account for that lower minimum, and suite sales have gone off the charts, and we've just kept it at an 8-person minimum. We're going to probably keep it at that moving forward because 8 is a really good entry point. And what we're finding is a lot of the people who would be buying 8 seats together just in the seating bowl are splurging on the 8 seats in a suite, and they're having a much better experience at a higher price point.
Some of the things that, I think we think about, obviously we had a tremendous success prior to pandemic, and, we had a sold out situation, but there's some, lean games that would occur at times. And what we sometimes viewed the suite side of the business as an extension of group sales. So this allowed us the opportunity now to get to further buckets. And then if somebody were to share, hey, this is available, all of a sudden, if you went to a lower quantity, like what he just mentioned, now they'll say, hey, can we go above that quantity? And now these suites that what he had just referenced, hey, could have been 8, now become 12 or 16, just by simply allowing that to be an opportunity out there, which you don't necessarily do that. And this extends that, when you put things on, whether you're with Ticketmaster like we are, you can obviously put what tickets are out there. From a suite perspective, this just allows us the opportunity to have other, excuse me, this allows you the opportunity, just to obviously extend and give, just more and more opportunities out there to the public to let them know what's available.
Great, Nick, I'm actually glad you said that. And Rose, something you said actually stood out as well, right? Is looking at, this is an opportunity we've never really had a chance to try putting them online. So like, let's go with this and see what takes place. The question that I have for all of you as well is really, as you look at your premium inventory, whether that's suites or different club spaces, premium seats, what is your organization's philosophy around how you want those premium spaces to be perceived by the fans? Is this a luxury exclusivity area that you really want, or is it more about giving fans more exposure to these areas to hopefully increase some of the opportunities of those sales?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think ultimately the luxury and exclusivity is certainly a piece of it, but the entry point is also a piece of it. So I think when we think about FEVO and how we've utilized FEVO, the entry point that Taylor mentioned, that COVID also gave us the opportunity to lower the suite number of tickets within a suite to engage that entry point, or people who may have not experienced it or thought it was too expensive to purchase. And to Nick's point, then have a conversation from there, where I think traditionally as sales folks on this call, you always want to kind of start high, stay high. That's been the philosophy, and that's certainly still is, but taking a slightly different approach of start with the purchase and have the conversation from there.
Great.
Yeah, I think Nick made a great point. Like, you have the lower amount of tickets to get in, but most of these people end up adding on a lot more tickets. So yes, we have plenty of suites that stay at the 8-person minimum, but an 8-person minimum is better than an empty suite. And then ultimately a lot of these suites end up adding tickets. And what we're seeing is our single game suites buy a lot more food. And most of these suites end up being like birthdays and anniversaries and all that. And they really want to blow it out. So we're then getting a lot more catering orders out of it, as well as ticket revenue.
Good point there, Taylor. Dan or Nick, anything else to add on your side as far as the philosophy each of you have for more of the internal side on premium?
Yeah, I mean, for us, and everywhere I've worked, premium and exclusivity go together. So I think those two things are always married. I think at the same token, if people don't know about it, it's going to be pretty exclusive because no one's going to be in there. So for us at the USTA, I think part of it was like exposing people to some products that were created about 4 years ago that many folks didn't even know about still to this day. And part of it was, again, how we merchandise it through FEVO and our new website, but also we sell a more complex product than most on this call. I mean, a suite inherently has its hospitality connected to its seats inside the venue. A club seat, the same way. The hospitality space and the seats are typically connected in the same space. We're selling, and probably very similar to many other marquee events or golf events, where your hospitality and your seats are not necessarily connected. And in fact, ours are in 2 different venues. And so being able to convey that in a clean way through FEVO has been helpful for us. And again, it allows us to that exclusive product and nature of it, but also allows people to know what the heck they're buying, as opposed to where are my seats or what am I buying. So we found it to be very successful. And ultimately, the way we've been able to present it with the photos and the slide out tray on the website really allows us to tell the story that this is a really exclusive, really unique product, but here's what you get with it.
Great, appreciate that, Dan.
And I'll add too, and I think you hinted this to start, buyer mechanisms have changed with COVID. Like they just want something simple. They want to know the price. We typically have not done that in the premium space out there. You know what season tickets cost, but if you're trying to move last minute inventory, or it's something you're trying to target for a particular game in advance, unless some buyers are calling in, that's what we do. FEVO allows us this extension that we maybe not have had before in the premium space. And it's something you shouldn't take for granted. There's no reason not to do it, I guess, is the whole point, I would say. And then lastly, and I'm sure we'll dabble into pricing and how you would do things. But for us, this allows us to sell the space, maybe take the F&B out of the situation to obviously lower the price to get, quote unquote, butts in seats. And then from there, build it up, and obviously tailor into that as well. So.
Nick, it's like you knew my transition right here. We're diving into price actually. So this is directly for Nick and for Dan. And Nick, I'm going to have you actually kick it off. I know you've given a testimony before about, season ticket holders looking at buying leases, and that's some success stories. For you specifically, have you guys been pricing premium at a higher level, or have you looked at really increasing pricing to make up for no games in previous years, or just stay consistent? Can you talk to that and share with the group?
Yeah, I can obviously, the NHL season when we started was really, quite frankly, a half a season when it came to regular season. We had such a quantity of folks that wanted to be able to go to every game. And we were all faced with different challenges, market to market, on how many, we were approved to allow in. At the beginning part of our season, we have far more season ticket holders than, quite honestly, we have availability by any means. And this, from a premium aspect, allowed us the ability to almost sell a season ticket to a certain degree. And so we obviously, from a pricing ways, you do what you can to, try and obviously offset a lot of the losses that we all took from the team perspective. And, we drove home pricing to a certain degree. However, when games change, when COVID hit certain teams, and now a Saturday game became a Monday or a Sunday game, and these hot premium dates, if you will, this allowed us to go back to market very quickly to an audience that we may not have had before in the premium sector. Obviously, you can put out there a call, 314, whatever your team's number is, and I say 314 because it's our area code, but try and drive that point home. But you don't necessarily have reps there 24 hours a day. And this allowed us the access, to get that out there and sell that inventory as quickly as possible and turn that around. So.
Yeah, I think for us, our average premium ticket price is north of $1,500, almost $2,000. That's the average price. So for many of us on this call, that's probably the highest price, or maybe even adding a few zeros. So our average price is about $2,000 per session or per game for us. And so we've seen that people are willing to spend meaningful amounts of money, both directly and online. And so, for us, we certainly have tried to capitalize on that through, unique strategies and packaging and dynamic pricing. And in fact, this year, coming out of the pandemic, we've introduced a new product in our courtside level that priced courtside tickets 5 times as much as they have been in previous years. And we're already 75% sold out of that prior to the, really our on sale. So there is it's understanding your buyers and what people want, and ultimately catering to different customers. As Nick said, there's a different buyer who wants every game versus the person who wants one game versus the person who wants some additional amenities versus the person who just wants the very best seats. And so we've been able to capitalize on that at the US Open, and we'll continue to do that and push the ceiling even higher.
Great. This is for Taylor and for Rose. As we just discussed a little bit of pricing and some of the strategy behind it, for different organizations, they've looked either at offering exclusive events or exclusive merchandise items with those premium hospitality spaces. Are either of your organizations doing anything specifically to move the needle, or have you guys looked at removing items like that and you just see a lot of people actually wanting to come out for the game itself?
Yeah, so for us, we've been focused heavily, just given that we're in New York. We really just opened up in the last week. Last Wednesday, I believe our governor had said that we could open at full capacity. So heavily focused on the game experience itself.
Great.
Yeah,
But I would
we're the
say-
same way over here. Just trying to get as many people in the ballpark as possible. Our last home game was September 2019 before this season started. So just trying to get as many people in the seats. And just a point that Nick made about having people around 24/7. What we're seeing with the online sales is most of those sales are coming extremely late at night, like between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. So obviously we're not going to have people here. And with a smaller staff, most of these people aren't even in our system as having bought any tickets with us previously. So we're reaching people through our premium page and the FEVO drawer that we didn't know how to contact previously.
Great. That's a huge point you just brought up, Taylor. You know, with our ability to be integrated with a lot of our ticket partners, a huge piece of this is the data collection side of it and some of that additional information that you guys are getting for leads. Taylor, you hit on this as far as the sales team, and I know it's been noted. Dan, you mentioned as well, like the size of your sales team. Unfortunately, in some cases for our partners, you know, looking at what that strategy and the size of your sales team was something that took place. So would love to open this up actually to each of you and really like, how are you getting your sales team involved post-purchase, you know, being able to attack the low-hanging fruit and get these sales to come through? What does that cadence look like after the sale has been made for your sales team specifically?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Start.
So go ahead.
Oh,
Taylor.
you can go, Rose. Go, Rose.
All right. So I was going to say, Taylor kind of hit on it earlier. It's the entry point that's been the most beautiful thing that's created some of the unique buyers that, you know, either weren't either purchasing suites previously or just weren't purchasing tickets from us in general. So, and we're big on data and understanding before we have outreach. So the overall philosophy for us has been have them enter the system, put the various forms of communication that we've outreached with, and we've explored some AI tool, integrating the FEVO link via an AI tool that we're using to get the communication out there at segmented, targeted groups of people that potentially haven't purchased from us, to get the information and then have a rep reach out from there to engage them more, visit them while they're here, show the other benefits of being a season ticket holder, which I mentioned we're not doing a lot now, but traditionally in our premium spaces, there are other reasons to purchase other than just the game experience itself, including access to various events, various concerts, things like that in the area that we provide to our season ticket holders.
For us, as far as post-sale goes, they are not getting connected with a rep after the sale, like a sales rep. They're getting connected with our one-man service department, and he's a rock star. And so he sends them an email confirmation with all the details about their event, sends them the suite menu, the process for accessing their mobile tickets, parking passes, and all that. And so he's just taking it from that step forward. And then if they have any questions, he has all the answers too. So he then services the account, and then the night of, just checking in with those folks and making sure that everything's going smoothly, whether they need to add tickets a couple days before or anything like that.
Great.
I'll go. I mean, ours was pretty simple. It was a situation where a transaction occurs, it gets handed to, you know, a rep then calls and upsell. That becomes the opportunity, whether it's F&B, additional tickets, what have you. Check on them the evening of the game, follow up the next day. You know, hopefully the check-ins went great during the game. And then, hey, would you like to come back out? So, I mean, those are, you know, from a bulleted point list, this just creates this opportunity that doesn't exist, you know, without it. So.
Dan, anything to add to that?
Not really. I mean, I think they hit it all. So nothing really to add.
Great. I do have a question that came in through Warren that actually, and I'll open this up if anyone just wants to offer advice, is as far as an online sale, is there anything special you guys are doing to distribute the sale of commission for online orders? So how are you guys doing that? If anyone wants to speak to that or just share.
We look at it as a lead, so we distribute it, work with the individual, find out what other opportunities exist, and then anything on a go forward basis, the rep is entitled to.
Great, perfect. Another question that actually came through as well is, how are you guys avoiding potential premium inventory being purchased by online brokers from the secondary market or on the secondary market?
We have a tool that we'll use, and a lot of people may use it or not within their organization. We have a white pages. So it allows us to go and do a background check a little bit after the transaction occurs, obviously find out some details. But when we transition that to the rep, it's literally the belief of, all right, they're going to follow up, they're going to find out what's going on. Something that we do, and I know Rose just hinted on it, just go back to that one question. We kind of use it as a reward tool. So the folks that have, obviously, whatever our goal is that week from a pipeline standpoint and completed, that's what we would want to reward on if it wasn't in any type of body's lead list or prospect list at one point in time. So.
Great. Switching gears a little bit, want to talk specifically about really targeting these premium buyers and hit on a little bit of like the marketing strategy behind this. So it's always great to be able to collaborate, get support of other departments within your organization. So this is a question opened up to each of you. I know whether it's online from the drawer of FEVO or even some awesome marketing campaigns that we've seen each of you launch, would love for you to talk through a little bit of that marketing support and strategy, how you're really getting this information out to your premium buyers. Taylor, do you want to start with us first?
Sure. Yeah, we've got a ton of assistance from our marketing team. They've been a huge resource for us. One thing that really started the process is we built out a whole premium page on our website. We didn't previously have that. We probably copied it from another team's page that looked really good. But we put a whole page together so it was like more inviting, and it was separate from the group sales option. So you could buy like club single game tickets, or you could buy a club suite. And there were a couple options that were more catered to or more inviting to everyone. So we started that. That has gone really well. And that's where we put the button to purchase online. But then our marketing team additionally, like leading it, we have a 12-game homestand that starts today, and there's only a handful of club suites left for those 12 games. So every so often they'll like post on Facebook or Twitter and say, hey, there's only a few suites left for the game for this homestand. And then they'll click the link and you can just buy right from the post. So that has worked really successfully in getting people buying very last minute. And I would say if we had one or two suites sold the day of the game in a previous year, that would be a big deal. We've probably already sold, I don't know, a dozen or so suites just this year on the day of the game through FEVO. So that's been great.
Thanks for that, Taylor. Rose, I know you guys have done some great marketing campaigns that have gone out via email. Would you mind kind of talking through a little bit of the marketing tactic that you guys have been using?
Sure. So I think it would be remiss to talk about marketing without talking about kind of the data segmentation that we do on the back end. And I think that's been a key driver for any of our decisions when it comes to whether it's this or how we target premium products. We have a pretty large database, and so we really segment out based on lead scoring and various live analytics, Pilotics. We kind of cross-reference a couple different platforms before targeting various segments. We generally initially we're targeting past buyers with various price points and put out messaging in addition. And this is maybe unrelated to premium or suites, but there's no reason going forward and what we're thinking about going forward that we can't do this for premium products is how do we sell those our individual flex plans as an entry point as well. And it's this week we just kicked off our general seating flex plan. And I think it's something that we're challenging ourselves to think about going forward with premium. But I think it initially starts with who are we targeting, why are we targeting them, and for what products. And so from specifically the suite side, we had a target of people that we were focused on based on past purchase history and lead scoring that we pushed out messaging for. And then kind of just more on a mass marketing standpoint, we use Conversica, which to the point about fewer reps within organizations, I think just gets the message out that much more. And we're trialing a FEVO link with them in that for our flex plans this week.
Great. Dan or Nick, anything on your side that's different from what's been mentioned or you'd like to add?
I mean, yeah, we do a lot what the Yankees do with way less technology. I mean, really focused on the data and mining our database and through lead scoring and various data points. Like Taylor, we redesigned our premium hospitality website prior to last year's tournament. And that's been a huge help for us to drive traffic to a dedicated place to help tell the story of our premium products. But outside of that, I wouldn't say that we're doing anything unique. At the end of the day, it's just an awareness thing that we found is people didn't know that they could get access to the products we have. And that's where we focus our energy on.
Great.
I mean, everything with what everybody just said goes into the a lot of this, and whether it's looking at future forecast of, hey, there's potential of this inventory existing here because you have in essence a bunch of games on top of each other. NHL season was completely different this year where we did back-to-backs, right? So it was a lot different than normal. But working with our BI team hand in hand, know what we need, whether it's a particular graphic when we're putting it on a telecast saying this is available now, and really hinting and starting at a lower number maybe than the max quantity to then eventually upsell. Those were things that we did from a marketing standpoint that necessarily hadn't did a lot before. But finally, kind of what Dan said, and we did this almost a number of years ago when we were renovating the building, is when everything was completed, we started doing a lot more of our 3D modeling. So cameras that go inside each space, almost as if we're selling an apartment. And that's really worked for us.
Great. Something to Rose's point is really the data, and a newer feature on FEVO that I know internally we're super excited about, but a lot of our partners have already been able to utilize is, plugging in Google Analytics and tying that to all of their offers. We have a team that's able to really go through, but it's amazing to see what information you can collect from those buyers and really to start seeing the trends. So definitely, if any partners are on the call and you guys aren't familiar with how you can utilize Google Analytics, definitely let us know. We're happy to help with that. But I think it goes back to what Rose said, and each of you is that data is truly valuable and important. Taylor, something you noted, and I'm just curious since we have panelists from all parts of the US, is one of our attendees asked, are you seeing more premium sales take place close to the game or further out? So Taylor kind of mentioned this spike in more close to or day of game. Curious if anyone else has seen any other trends specifically for your inventory.
Yeah, I don't know the specific breakout, but it is definitely a lot of people are buying very last minute, which is great. And if we have suites open, then that's great. But they are selling so well that we've had to turn a lot of people away. That maybe Nashville's a tourist town, so a lot of people are coming in for various reasons. So if we're sold out, we're sold out. But just kind of like put it in perspective. So 2019 was like a great year for group sales for us. It was like a record year. And for our suite sales, we've already surpassed our final 2019 number by over 45% as of today. So that's really exciting to see. And over 30% of that is through FEVO. So that's really cool to see. And a lot of those, to your point, are very last minute buyers. So we would like people to plan out a little bit more, but we'll take the last minute sales too.
Appreciate you sharing those data points too, Taylor. Thanks.
I think it's a really tough year to look at buying trends just based on the nature of our business, and for us specifically at the Yankees, how we've rolled out various phases of games and it being so last minute. But one trend that we thought was really interesting, and I don't know where it's going to go in the future, but Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, specifically in our premium spaces, being more popular than the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where traditionally you're in Manhattan and you're working in Manhattan and you come straight up to the Bronx and you're entertaining and you go home from there. It's been more of a Friday, Saturday, Sunday crowd.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, one of the challenges we've had at the US Open is that our event falls smack dab in the middle of Labor Day weekend, which in New York, most people are going out of town versus staying in town. However, there's a lot of people historically that come into town, and general ticketing, one of the most, and on the resale market, one of the most popular times to come to the US Open was during Labor Day weekend. However, our premium sales were always very small during that window. And so through FEVO, we've proven that it's not that people don't want to buy premium. It's just, again, they weren't aware of it. So now we've seen a tremendous conversion of people that we probably would have lost to the secondary market or to our general seating on Labor Day weekend. So I think the question was asked in the chat about B2B versus high net worth individuals. In my mind, it doesn't matter. It's who's ever buying it. And we've seen a tremendous amount of high net worth individuals buying. I'd say more online are going to be your online FEVO buyers compared to your B2B. However, at the end of the day, they're still spending the same amount of money. So it doesn't really matter if they're using it for their business or for themselves. But again, I go back to the, people, we were able to capitalize by selling online during last year's tournament where there were no fans, something we've never had to been able to do before, because typically we're on site executing and operationalizing the event. So again, having this other salesperson or this machine that's converting sales for us while we're doing servicing or executing has allowed us a tremendous amount of benefit.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Nick, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that part?
Yeah, I guess I'm one of those weird scenarios. We did both. We targeted a game that we had inventory that we knew that potentially would be open. And let's try this out. Let's shoot for this price point. And it worked. And then we had last minute opportunities, and, both instances work. I just think that putting that out there is what we've been missing to a certain degree. And, and kind of to Dan's, what he just hit it on B2B versus high net. It was high net for us, definitely at the beginning part of the year, because businesses were not comfortable, whether it be season tickets, their suite, what have you. I think it's high net, but now as we are seeing vaccines become more readily available and folks returning more to the office to a certain degree, business will come back. So.
Great. Actually, Nick, Dan, I'm glad you guys brought that one up, because again, the question is B2B traditionally tends to kind of be a focus for premium. What are you guys hearing potentially from some of your fans or corporations that you guys are targeting from a B2B perspective, and what's the draw for them to come back out potentially?
For us, I mean, it begins with, we're very lucky on the calendar. We're in September, and so we'll probably be one of the first marquee events across the country that's back. There's been obviously a lot of great events. It's awesome seeing a lot of sold out crowds across the country, but in New York and certainly globally, we'll be one of the first marquee events that's national and international to host fans. And so we've seen a tremendous demand. I mean, a lot of companies are not committing to other events and sort of beginning their commitment with us or using us as an exception because it's such a unique event. So we'll probably be the exception versus the rule. But I will tell you, there's a lot of corporate demand, and there's a lot of demand for individuals as well. So if we're leading the pack in that way because of our event being at what it is, the good news for the rest of the industry is that it's coming, and it's coming fast.
Great. I had a question submitted actually, is as far as some of those internal conversations, like how were you able to get buy-in from potentially other members on leadership or even other departments that you worked closely with to make this decision?
I think it was easy for us because I think everyone was affected by COVID on their staffing in some way, and we're shorter staffed than we're accustomed to. And so it was a great opportunity to put that online, and that helps our sales team dramatically in getting sales in that there aren't enough man hours to cover right now. So I think it was really easy to get that buy-in. It was just a matter of setting up the process and putting the right marketing resources in place so that it is successful.
Great.
I'll go. I think it's, I am on leadership, so maybe that helps move the decision quicker. But to me, I think that there's no reason not to, to me, like, why would you not want to, if you had a tool available, why would you not want to utilize it or try it even for that? And obviously it provides future, case study for you moving forward on how you approach things. So. Great.
Dan or Rose?
I would just say, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to make sales. So as Nick pointed out, we found a ton of benefit. It wasn't a huge debate internally for us. Certainly it's a unique thing from an operational perspective for us, but I would say it's been much more of a benefit than a detriment.
Great.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback everything everyone kind of already said is so only thing to add there is we were doing a lot of business through our group sales department prior to introducing suites. So it was really again, just to echo, no brainer, that no harm in trying. Only thing we could have done is not sell.
With that being said, just to kind of transition into the fulfillment, like moving to this touchless, but also more of a digital piece, and obviously potentially not printing tickets anymore, which I think is always a good thing. Can each of you walk through a little bit of that process and potentially how FEVO kind of helped moving the needle over to now things being digitally and sending those tickets electronically?
I think for us, it was great because minor league baseball, we were one of the last leagues to come back after COVID. So it was great to kind of have all the other leagues go through the mobile ticketing situation before us. But there is, I think, like I detailed earlier, there's just a confirmation email that goes out detailing how to access the tickets. And I thought we would have a lot more mobile ticketing issues on the group side than we have. It's been so minimal. So we've been very pleased with that, but the post-purchase, they just get the instructions on how to go about it. And it's been very easy so far.
Dan, anything to add on that one?
I'll tell you in 2 months. We haven't had to distribute mobile tickets yet. Obviously, our event is not until the end of August. So I'll be taking some notes from Taylor, Rose, and Nick on this topic.
You know, I'll say real quick. I know that, you know, for us, we've been trying to you know, really move out of the hard ticket model and more mobile, because we get more information. We can obviously better service our customers. You know, and FEVO being as a part of that allows you to do a lot of those things. The other thing that we do is we always do a game day email, and it tells you all different things that are going on, times and everything like that. And this all works hand in hand, I feel like. So.
We've had I've had so many industry professionals reach out and ask the same question, and it was our transition was unbelievably simple and easy, and surprisingly so, because we typically handhold from start to finish. So anyone who's concerned on that topic, I'd be happy to discuss, because I think that was, if you would have told me last year that we would be using mobile tickets in our premium spaces, I would have told you you're crazy. So it was a very seamless transition.
Great. Another one is from like an operational standpoint, obviously short staff, but really just more logistics now that everything's kind of open in a rapid pace. Are there any key findings or tips you would share for any of the attendees today on how you guys feel like you were able to scale up quickly with capacities opening back up from an operational standpoint?
Hold your breath and sprint. Make as many outbound communication as much as possible. There's been a lot of transition in communication, specifically in New York over the last 3 weeks. We went from our last homestand, we were at 33% capacity. We increased to 75% with vaccination sections. And I apologize if you hear background noise here in the Bronx. I think someone's speeding down the street. And you know, within 3 days had a homestand starting at 100% capacity. So the transition certainly not seamless, but the faster you can get out to people and communicate, I think the market just generally doesn't know what the situation is, because there's been so many changes over the last, you know, several months.
Right. Another attendee actually wrote in, I think this would be good just to clarify for everyone, since I know premium inventory varies at every single team. Taylor, we'll start with you, but their question was, is it strictly like loge boxes, single game suites, or what specifically have you moved to FEVO that's utilizing the actual purchase flow? So if each of you would just highlight that, it would be great to specify. Taylor, I'll have you start off with that one.
Yeah, pretty much everything we sell can go through FEVO in some capacity, but if we're just focusing on the premium. We have our club suites on there, so we're selling those internally and through FEVO. Another thing that we do that has worked really well is we have field suites, which are larger suites directly behind home plate. And that's traditionally a group area like our club suites. And there's a block of seats in front of the field suites. So if they don't sell on a particular day, if the suite is not sold, we lock the suite and then sell the seats only as a single game offer. Previously, we've only done that if all 4 of those suites have not been sold. This year, we've been testing out if there's been groups in a couple of the suites versus a couple suites unsold. We'll still flip those to single game inventory. There's 33 seats in front of every suite, and every time we flip it on single game inventory, regardless of how many other seats are open in the ballpark, they all sell out immediately, and it's our highest price single game ticket on those games. So that has also worked really well, just selling the seating inventory on a single game offer. And then one thing we've been doing with FEVO since 2019 is we have a couple other hospitality areas that are typically a picnic group area. And those typically for us don't sell on holiday weekends like 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Labor Day. So we flip those over to an all-you-can-eat single game option. And those always sell out as well because it's the only all-inclusive option we have. Food, drinks, beer, all of that is included. So those always sell out on the holiday weekends too.
Great. Dan, you want to go next?
Yeah, we sell our 2 hospitality packages, the 1968 room and the Overlook, which are inclusive food, beer, wine, soda, hospitality spaces coupled with either a mid-tier loge level seat or a courtside seat. And primarily we've sold them as multiple game packages or multiple session packages. And we've seen a lot of success in that with FEVO.
Great. Thanks, Dan. Nick, I'll have you go next.
We focused more because of just where capacity was and the sheer volume that we were able to put out there and go to our season ticket holders to purchase this year. So our focus was a lot more on suites this past year, and really just saying, hey, we have this open right now, and then kind of building it up. So suite was definitely our focus.
Okay, great. Rose?
And for us, we're suites. We have our field level suites as well, heavily on groups, and we'll explore plans, flex packs in the coming, hopefully in the coming weeks.
Okay. This one is for you guys as well. This came through as a question here. When you look at the FEVO purchase flow and moving online, what would each of you maybe categorize as like the biggest success story thus far internally for you with the premium inventory?
For us, it's been volume. It's been volume, and it's been unique buyers. I think that, if you have someone already engaged in your product, it's great that they can easily purchase and flow online, understand what they're purchasing online, and do it in a couple of clicks. But I think that the unique thing that we've taken away from this is volume and unique purchasers.
Great.
That maybe it didn't want to purchase any or call us.
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, simplify the process for us. As I mentioned before, one of my favorite things to do is check my FEVO sales report and see more Labor Day weekend sales come through, so I can point to our leadership team and say, hey, people do want to buy Labor Day weekend. So I think it helps simplify the buying process and helps create awareness where there wasn't before.
I would say volume as well. And I think some people, maybe a hesitation of some people I know was like mine when I initially saw how it was getting set up, is like, certainly there are fees, like FEVO fees associated with these types of sales. And since they're higher price items, there are higher fees that go along with that. And I thought for sure like that would be a deterrent to some people. People just don't like talking to anyone, and they have no problem paying any fees if they know they don't have to talk to anyone. So that's just been astounding with how much volume of sales we've got, knowing that those folks are really paying a much higher price point per ticket when they're booking a suite, but they are totally unfazed.
Ours is simple, opening the doors to new buyers that we may not have been in touch with. And we believe that, based upon that and our sales ability, that we'll be able to transfer those into future shares and buyers, obviously.
Great. I know we're coming up on time. So really last question is, if you give one piece of advice, takeaway to leave with the attendees today, what would it be? And Rose, I'm gonna have you actually go first if you don't mind.
Sure. Thanks, Cara. I would say there's no harm in trying. I think there's a lot of creative ways that you can use FEVO that we haven't even dove into yet, but the Sweets piece opened up a new opportunity for us. So hop in and try.
Great.
I would echo what Rose says, like, you're not going to lose money trying to put something through FEVO. If anything, you're just going to make sales out of it. And for us, a lot of this, I'd say the majority of the stuff that we've used FEVO for has been extremely successful. We've certainly had certain things that don't go as successfully as we like, but just having the ease of using the FEVO platform has been amazing for us and a great resource.
Yeah, I would say beyond what Rose and Taylor said is integrating the cart and the drawer onto the site as opposed to kicking somebody out to a third party to convert. That is super powerful and is very unique to FEVO. And we've seen that's helped us convert a lot of our sales that maybe would have lost throughout the sales process online.
Thanks for that, Dan.
I mean, just to reiterate, no brainer for the organization to try it. You know, if you like making sales and they're going to come to you now that maybe wouldn't have happened before, why not? You know, and the last thing is, you know, and what still surprises me is there are some people that want to talk to no one, absolutely no one. This gives you that avenue that maybe you did not have before. So,
absolutely. Well, wish we could give again a big round of applause and you could hear everyone clap for you guys, but really appreciate the time and advice. So thank you so much. And we're obviously very happy and thankful to have you guys as partners and seeing success. But for all of our guests for joining us today, thanks so much for the time. We will have a recording of this. So hopefully if you have anyone that you want to share this with, feel free. We'll be sending that around. But also, if you'd like to get in touch with us following the webinar today, have additional questions, feel free to reach out to the email below at bd@fevo.com. But thank you everyone so much for joining and have a great rest of your week. We'll talk soon.